We're live. Welcome everybody. Welcome to my stream. I'm Felicia Cowley, and today is part 2 of Princess Leia New Hope white dress. We are doing it out of jersey fabric. Last Thursday, I got it all cut out and I started to pin it together, and I was thinking about how I was going to finish edges, lay things out while I pin and sew so that the fabric's on the right side of the sewing machine, and now the fabrics are sandwiched together in the correct order so that when I flip it out in the right side out, that the neckline and the hood are hanging the proper way. So I've been thinking about that and how I wanted to finish the neckline, because technically I don't need to put a slit in the back of the neck because it's a stretch knit, it's a jersey knit, so it will act like the ribbing on your t-shirt, so it will fit over your head and fit snugly to your neck at the same time without having to have a slit in the back. Princess Leia's needed that because it was made out of a silk and woven fabric, not a stretchy fabric. But then I was thinking about it, and I think I would rather have a slit in the back of the neckline because she has big giant buns on either side of her head. And those are just going to be a pain in the butt to take a over-the-head dress on and off. So you have to do your hair once you put the costume on. So I figured it'd be a lot more user-friendly with the slit in the back. So I'm going to unpin the hood that I started pinning last time, lay everything out flat, and cut the slit, finish the edge, and then start attaching the collar and the hood. So let me just... Welcome, 45th Clown. All is well. Okay, let me see. This is the costume from last week. And as you can see here, let me see if I can put it on this camera. I have it all pinned and gathered and ready kind of to go. I'm going to take all of this out because right here at my center back, this is where I want to put a slit. And I want that to be about no more than 5, but probably only 4 inches down. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I did. I'm undoing, and then we'll kind of assess from there. I'm leaving my there's 3 different cameras. I'm leaving my pins that I have as marking pins in the shoulder, center back, and center front of my neckline so that I can at a glance know exactly where I'm at. But all these other pins are just going to come out. So let me take all of these out. Okay, I am being very, very careful not to stretch out the neckline. This is going to be very important in the next, till I get my neckline attached. Okay. Hood is off. And last week I was hemming and hawing over, should I do the silk hood? Should I do the self fabric hood? And I think I feel very strongly that the self fabric for this costume is going to be way more cohesive. It's going to visually sell it, and it's going to feel right. And because I have the choice right now, I can still switch it out, but I'm not going to. I think I made the right choice. Even slept on it for a whole week. I'm going to use the self fabric. I am going to do that in a minute. I have to do the slip first. We'll think about that in just a second. DJ Stumpy's here saying, hi, I'm tuning in for a little bit from what I saw last week. It's looking good. Well, thank you. Not Top, is this costume for an upcoming event? Actually, it ends up it's going to be at an event. By the time I get this finished, it's not going to take that long. I plan on getting the dress done today, and then next week I'm planning on doing the accessories. So I can have this done before May the 4th, which I just got invited to a Star Wars themed event on that day, which sounds like a lot of fun. Granted, I have my other Princess Leia costume, but this one is also the one where she is also a comfortable, fun option. So anyways, can't have too much Princess Leia. So yes, this will be at an event. I started making this with just because I wanted to, but it already has somewhere to go. So yay, good problems, right? Fun problems. All right, let's look at my neckline. I have my coffee in the way. Do not drink coffee with white fabric. It's terrible. I would never do this at like work, but so lovely. Okay, let me put this flat on the table so we can see what we're looking at. Camera 2. So right here, there's no shoulder seam. We have a giant T. This is our sleeve. This is our front of our dress. This is our back of our dress. The only thing that's really distinguishing the front from the back is the depth and the curve of the neckline. It's shallower in the back and it goes deeper in the front. How deep to make it? Typically 3 inches from the shoulder is perfect. Personally, I think my neck is 4 inches down, but 3.5 seems to work better. But 3 inches down standard is normal. And then I did a 1.5 inches on the back. Anyways, the hood is gathered in from the shoulder seam to the shoulder seam, and this red one is my center back. I'm going to double check that it's center back by folding. This is my center front. Walking the thing side seam to side seam. Those aren't matching up. Well, let's look at our center back. And the center back is actually on center back. So let me move this shoulder seam over. Now that feels right. Okay, so we are center front, side seam, center back. I know it's teeny tiny on this camera, but we will survive. Center back, I'm going to measure down. Ouch, I just stabbed myself. Don't do that. Ugh. Where is my pink tape measurer? There it is. I would rather use this one than the other one. Normally, I would, for a neckline opening, I'd probably only go about 4 inches down. But because the whole purpose of this neck opening is to fit over the cinnamon buns, I'm going to go the full 5 inches down. I'm going to mark that. And here, let me go to this. I have it marked. This is my center back. It's straight from here to here. I'm just going to cut it. Got to line up my shoulder seams again because I moved everything around, but it's very important to have nice flat fabric so you're cutting where you think you're cutting. Okay. And all right, let me pull out my sewing machine. Gotta it in. Doing this blind, can't see what I'm doing. Okay, let's turn on this. Sewing machine is still threaded, but I'm going to switch my stitch settings to a stretch stitch. You want to sew knits with a zigzag or a stretchy stitch. There's lots of different stitches you can choose. I like a back. Geez, I'm live, and so my brain just farted on what that stitch is called. It's not a slip stitch, it's a back stitch, where it goes back and forth and back and forth. So it still has the flexibility, but it's in a straight line. So it's like sewing with straight seams, but it takes a little bit longer. It sounds different than a straight stitch when you hear the thun 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 of the sewing machine. But it's going to have, it's not going to pop when you stretch your fabric. It's going to stretch with your fabric. Okay. Let me just measure my neckline so I'm not taking off too much from the circumference by folding in the edges, because I still want it to fit my neck piece here, this neck piece. And this neck piece should be 15 inches finished. Let me just measure it real quick. Keep building little walls. Let's see. Finish length. It is at 14.5 inches. So let me just push this to the side. Okay, so this is my turtleneck. It's at 14.5 inches finished length. And my neckline, I'm going to fold in the center backs, and I want to make sure that I have that I don't take too much in at the seam allowance so that it can still fit. So I'm going to fold this neatly again. Still lines up, so it's still the right measurement. Like, the puzzle pieces still should fit. Okay, let me take my measuring tape and measure this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be A-okay. All right, let me fold this under. This is the right side of the fabric. This is the wrong side of the fabric. You know how I know the difference between the right side of the fabric and the wrong side of the fabric? I'm going to show you this trick. If you see the edge of a jersey knit and you stretch it, it's going to curl. Okay, I'll face it towards you. Here's a flat edge of the fabric, and then when I pull it, it's going to curl. And it's going to curl towards the right side of the fabric. So this is the right side. This is the wrong side. And if you look at the top of the fabric, it's curling. So I know which side's my right side of my fabric. This is my right side of my fabric. So I need to fold and stitch. I don't have a good camera to look over my shoulder with my sewing machine yet, but that is a goal. That is completely a goal. Hold on 1 second. Let me. Okay, sorry, just messing with computer settings. Don't worry, I'm only live. Got my stitches in there. and fold it over. Double check and double check and double check because it's easier to do it before you sew. Let me double check. Right side of my fabric is that side, so it folds this way. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to increase the stitch length. This is a little tight for this fabric. It's probably good to do a test swatch before you start sewing, but it's okay. We got this anyways. Yeah, much better, much better. Do a little back stitch at the center back. I'm gonna manually put the needle where I need it in the next, in the next position, because I can have more control and not get a weird little pucker at the center back. It's okay. And then just hop. I like driving really fast when I'm driving my sewing machine. It feels like driving because you're pushing down a pedal. But it's okay to take the ends really slowly. And now it looks nice. And it's a finished edge. And I should be able to get this easily over giant cinnamon buns. Think it'll be fine? I think it'll be fine. I don't want to stretch out the neckline yet though. Okay, so let me put my sewing machine, ever so slightly out of the way. Starting to feel like Mr. Wilson I told him. Hiding behind the sewing machine. Okay. This is the hood I had on. It's just a rectangle, but this is the rectangle I chopped my neckline off, so I'm just going to cut a slightly bigger rectangle that hasn't been ever so slightly shortened. And I have all of these from when I cut out the inner arm. So, actual dress, hood I had pinned, new hood. I am going to square up my edges. But I'm kind of making a controversial decision here. Now, this fabric is a stretch knit. It doesn't fray. It doesn't really run. It kind of curls, the edges kind of curl, but Princess Leia doesn't have any edge finishes on her hood. And it looks like a single piece of fabric. You don't see that thick finished edge or you really don't see the edge finish on the hood. So I am going to leave this as a raw edge. I'm going to cut off my salvage edge, clean up the edge so it's nice and clean and a straight line and not little bumps on the edges. And on the hood itself, I'm going to leave the edges unfinished, which I'm kind of excited about. I normally don't do that. I usually just finish the edges because it's way more professional to have finished edges. But, like I said, there's exceptions to the rules and reasons why we break the rules. Everin Edip says, hi. Hello, Everin Edip. Did I butcher your name? I butcher everybody's name equally. This is so weird cutting sitting down. I always am either sitting on the floor or I'm standing over the table. Okay, clean up this edge. Oops. I want this edge to be really clean because this one's going to be around the face. All right, and let me cut off the seam allowance. 45th Clown says, what's your favorite Star Wars film or show? I'm a New Hope fan because it introduces so much, but I love Ewoks. I think I am a huge Return of the Jedi fan. Like, that by far is my, like, if I could only watch one, that would be the one I would pick, so. But I really like the original trilogy. But I'm definitely having fun with Princess Leia being a new Disney princess and the way they're treating her character. I'm not absolutely hating, so. I do love the young Leia. She's so cute, and I like her little droid. But yes. Okay, so for the back hood, I definitely need to steam this. I see all the wrinkles, but that's easily fixable. When doing research on kind of what the hood shape would be and what it's supposed to be, blah, 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 I don't think there's a back seam on the hood. I think the hood literally is just a rectangle of fabric. The way it hangs, the way she wears it, random pictures. I don't have any good pictures. Let me see. Is this? We see how long the hood is. Hold on. Let's see if there's a better picture. There's no hood on this one. Can't see the hood. Here's the hood. You can see the center back seam on her thing because I think the hood is also slit, but I don't think there's a point where they actually start to sew it. I think the way it lays on her head when she's actually wearing it, I don't think I have a picture of her in the hood. No, I don't. Here, this is the area we're looking at right now. I think it's a rectangle, so I am going to do my best to make it look as much like hers as possible, and I don't think that I need to do any seams. I think I can get away. I just need a rectangle of fabric and the rectangle size. Let's see. If I take this is going to be my hood, and we measure it. It's measuring at 41 inches or 104 centimeters by 17 3/4 of an inch or 45 centimeters. But this is just using the inside of my tees when I cut out the pattern. So let's see. Okay, I officially have, I can't fake it now. I have a right side and a wrong side because the seams are definitely on the wrong side. I need to attach my hood and my neck all together in the same seam. And I'm going to start with pinning my hood, and then I'm going to pin in my neck. The short ends of my rectangle are the pieces that I'm gathering on this side and on this side, and then they go on the shoulders. Not the shoulders, it goes on the neckline, starting at the shoulders. DJ Stumpy, I want to do another Rimmer from Red Dwarf outfit based on the Series X. However, sourcing two-tone fabric at a good price has proven difficult. Currently practicing the trousers, but foolish. I love fun problems like that. Yes, you get it in your head, but it's a problem that you get to chew on, and then when you finally figure it out, it's worth it. So that sounds awesome. Iana Lith, sorry for running late, just ate dinner and got my new prescription eyewear. Feels good to see now. Saying's important. DJ Stumpy says, foolishly, I didn't transfer the markings of the waistband, so just backtracking. Rimmer's jacket is similar to an Imperial officer in Star Wars, so should be easy, he says nervously. Right? Should be easy. Devil's in the details, but those are the fun parts. So this is the right side. When the hood is done, it needs to be this way. So center back I'm marking with a red pin, so I know exactly where my center back is. And I have to mark both sides of my center back because we split it. And I am pinning this how it's supposed to be finished together, because then I'm going to flip it inside out, pin in my turtleneck, and then when I finish it, I'll flip it out, and they should all be in the right order. So, please, brain, work. Okay. And this gets pinned right here. Pinning may not be the most efficient way to gather, but it's going to give me the most even, and I really want these really clean, even gathers. So this is my method. This is my neckline, this little piece of fabric right here, and all this fabric loop right here needs to get gathered into this little piece right here, because you only have from the center back of your neck to the side seam, which is not very much. But I like to find the center, find the center, find the center. And then I line up my loops and I put a pin. I'm going to mark this because this is my first center. So this is the quarter mark. And so now I have a blue pin marking it. The black pin is marking my shoulder seam. The red pin is marking my center back. And the blue pin is marking my center of this piece. I'm going to do the blue pin on both sides. That way I know where my centers are. So as I'm fudging the gathering and smooshing it, I know that it's even. Blue. Remember that Leia's original costume was lined in black fabric, but don't test me on that. Let's peek. I want to look at it. So this dress you could totally see through. This is probably the first iteration of this dress. It may not be, but this is the one where she could not get away with having a bra on because you can see the strap. This dress is made out of a much heavier fabric. On my phone, I have a picture where you can see up the sleeve for that dress. And it's not lined. That underarm seam is just pressed open. But, yeah. I would believe it that this one possibly could be lined in black. But I feel like it's a little sheer for that. But that's really interesting. I like that. I will have to do more research because that is a brilliant way to make something so sheer less sheer, but you could just do a double layer of the white if you really wanted to. Okay, so I like this. Let's keep this going because now it's the repetitive part of I just need to sit and pin and pin and pin. Okay, you see black. Interesting. Huh. I will have to... Apparently talking and pinning at the same time is a little more difficult. Yanalith, did you crimp your hair? Yes. Yes, I did crimp my hair. I was having fun today. So I have floofy hair. I'm all about it. It could get really big. Okay. Because as you break down into the quarters and then eighths and then sixteenths and blah, 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 you just get tinier and tinier sections. And knowing where your centers are, where you're at, it'll help you know how many gathers you've done as these little lumps get smaller and smaller. But yes. Yanalith, it's a blessing and a curse to have good memory. Agreed. Okay. Pin, pin, pin. So my neckline's ever so bigger than this neck. The hole that my neckline is out, my dress is bigger than my neckline that I've cut out. And I am going to ease it in. I'm not going to gather it in, but I am definitely going to be easing it. So as I'm pinning and making these gathers, I'm not stretching anything out because it's all going to get smooshed in. It's going to get smooshed and smooshed and smooshed, just not stretched. And yes. Yeah, because that's Leia's best hairstyle from Return of the Jedi. I completely agree. And honestly, I almost wore this green dress that reminds me of her dress that she wears in there. But then I was just getting comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt. But I completely agree. I was thinking of her hair from that when I was floofing it. I thought it was fun. DJ Stumpy, you could totally rock Sarah from the Labyrinth masquerade dress. Heck yeah, that is one of those dream dresses that I would rock in a heartbeat. You know, I never did that one at the costume shop. I don't think we had the right dress. We had like close enough. We did way more David Bowie than we did of Sarah. But I do have that vest and denim outfit that she wears with the pirate shirt in the beginning of the movie. So I have thought about that cosplay, but that dream dress, oh my gosh, that's a dream dress. Ianela says, maybe next time her outfits from Return of the Jedi are really epic. Right, but I have to get through this one first. I don't think I'm going to run out of fun things to make. One time at the costume shop, we turned one of those aviators, like those vintage aviator caps, into the dancing girl with the latex. She has a name, completely blanking. But anyways, that was a really fun costume to work on. And I don't think we would ever run out of fun things to make with just Princess Leia alone. Okay. So this side is gathered. This side is yet to be gathered, and it looks like a giant pile of fabric. Let me see. Yep, it looks like a giant pile of fabric, but right here is my center back split that I added to my neckline. It has a finished edge, it looks clean. It closes right there. This side's been gathered, this side's just been pinned, and this part of the neckline has nothing going on yet. We're just trying not to stretch it out. So hi. Okay. Ralph Morks here. Hello, Ralph. How are you doing today? I have been thinking about how I'm going to do the metal parts of her belt, and part of me is considering using soda cans, cutting them out with dollar store scissors because I'm not destroying my favorite scissors, and contact cement that to cardboard, folding over the rough edges so that it has smooth edges, and then attaching that to the leather with contact cement. And then I have metal buttons that are supposed to be covered in fabric that I'm just going to leave metal and glue to the centers. That's what my brain is telling me, but I haven't fully chewed on the idea yet. Because I could always do foam, but that's not as fun as using actual metal. So, just thinking about that at the moment. Oh, thank you. Like my floofy hair? I like the floofy hair. Nice. Yes, I do have. Ianela says, yeah, you have a really long way to go, and I love her outfits in the sequel because I really like the pantsuits. Agreed. I would love to see a guy cosplay as Captain Rex in Return of the Jedi. Right? Okay. Let me get some of these going, and then I can do it without looking, but right now I have to look at what I'm doing, and it's reading and being precise with my sewing. Let me focus for just 2 seconds. But let's be realistic. That's why we're here, to watch the real struggle of crafting. It doesn't just boop together like those TikToks make it look like. Ralph Mork says, sounds like a plan, but could be sharp. That's what I was thinking. I'm worried about it being sharp. I'm not really worried about cutting myself because I have cut up tin cans before, understanding that they are completely sharp and dangerous, but at the same time going, I've done it before, haven't cut myself yet, but I still think that it is my starting point. I think I'm going to start with tin cans. Yes. Okay. So I have 4 loops, and I'm going to do each section now. Find the centers, find the centers, find the centers. You smoosh it and then smoosh it and then smoosh it. I've already cut myself and I don't know how it happened. Gotta be careful. No bleeding on your sewing projects. And if you do, just learn this really early on in sewing. If you get, because I think I've stabbed my fingers at least like twice on the stream already. If you get a little dot of blood on your fabric from stab wounds, the enzymes in your spit will take it out of the fabric. Don't get your lipstick on the thing, but working with white fabrics that are delicate, that have to be white, and getting a little dot of blood on them, Shout's okay. I prefer Shout to Tide pens. I like the spray on Shout, but just a little spit breaks down the blood way better and faster, but it has to be your own spit, and then also it's gross and we won't talk about that. But if you ever get a little bit of blood from sewing, because we stab our fingers and it happens, and you can't always, like, you don't want to ruin it, yeah, just spit on it. Shh, don't tell though. Dan Does Junk is here. Hello, Dan, hope you're feeling better. Oh my gosh, the YouTube worm from the labyrinth. I love that little worm thing. It used to scare me as a child, I'm not gonna lie. Started to use a color one, but no. Smoosh it and then you smoosh it and then smoosh it. Ralph Mork, when I was like 8, I used to hammer flat metal bottle caps and sand them shiny to make fake coins when we were playing pirates. Cool. I remember collecting bottle caps. My dad collects old soda cans and soda bottles. And yeah, I remember collecting the caps. But I think that's cool that you turned them into coins. Okay, almost done. Almost. How well did I pin? Let me see. Okay, see how they're kind of evenly. Is it gonna adjust to see the gathers? No, it's just keeping back here. But these gathers are pretty big. I think I'm gonna go through with one more layer of pins to smoosh them as flat as I can. Okay. Yeah, I think one more. I'm going to totally have to take all of these pins out, but it'll be fine. You know what? No, it'll get smooshed. All right. flipping everything. So we are on the inside of the garment. This is the inside, this is my back. You can see the seam allowance here. My hood's on the inside, and I have my neckline, and we are inside out. So now what I'm going to do is match my side seam, center front seam, center back seams, and kind of do the same process that I did here to find the centers, to find my centers, so that all this extra fabric that's ever so slightly bigger than my neckline will smoosh in. And it won't be gathers, it'll just kind of ease in very nicely. So that's the plan. I'm sorry if you guys couldn't hear me. I'm very bad about talking into my microphone, but I'm trying to get better. Okay, so center back to center back. Over here, like you guys can see what I'm doing over there. Pinning center back to center back. Now, I currently don't have any hooks and eyes or pant hooks or clips or closures, and I do want to add a closure into this neckline, and I think I'm just going to add a tie. It's not correct, but it'll be easy, and I can easily tuck it away, and I won't have to think twice about it, and then there won't be any metal on my costume. So before I finish pinning in the neckline, let me just cut a strip of this fabric. Oops. And I'm not going to worry about sewing and turning into or anything like that. This is a jersey knit, so if I just really stretch it out, I make quote unquote t-shirt yarn. And this piece of string is the string that I'm going to be using. So let me just cut off the edges so that it's pretty, even though I could just push the stretch to the edge. Clip that and clip this. And now I have two strings that I can tie on my neckline. So, this out of my way. And center back, while I'm attaching my neckline, I'm going to attach these in there too, sandwiched between the hood and the collar. Sorry, I'm pinning. Okay, let's see. DJ Stumpy, I've watched loads of horror movies and laughed, yet the Dark Crystal still freaks me out because it scared the smeg out of me as a kid. I agree. Dark Crystal, that I did not watch. I wasn't supposed to watch it when I watched it when I was a little kid. The babysitter put it on and I had nightmares, but it was like the best. I don't know. Like, it was scary. That thing that goes, it still makes me laugh. The sexist, or I don't know, however you pronounce it. Sexies. Skekskies. Oh no. Anyways. Pin, pin. Okay. I love how even this is. Yay! When things start to fit together, it means my math was right, and I get really excited because I'm like, oh, these patterned pieces are meant to be together. since there's not that much gathers when I'm easing in the neckline, it's going to get less and less extra space in between them. They're going to feel like they're the same size. And that's the goal, so that it just gently eases in without giving you funny gathers. And don't stretch out your neckline. Just be very, very gentle. Just kind of smoosh it into the position you want. Because we're gathering a bigger neckline into as small of a neckline as we can. We don't want to stretch anything out. And I think that's where people usually have their biggest mistakes with knits, because knits do stretch and you can smoosh and stretch and make things kind of work when you smooch and you stretch, but you pull instead of push, when that's when like seams get wonky. But if you smoosh it as you go and you just gingerly, you're not stretching anything out, it should have a nice clean edge. So that is just from pure experience at this point. All right, I'm going to centers. Okay. So the density difference of where I put my pin at my shoulder seam of the side that has the gathers versus the side that doesn't have the gathers, it's making it lay funny, and I know I can make it lay better than that. Okay. Not stretching any of this out. Do not stretch it out. Okay. It's one side. Let's do the other side. Here, let me show you in comparison. So right here, this side is all pinned and lined up to the center front, which is right here. And right here, this is not pinned. This right here needs to get pinned into this piece right here. And I'm not stretching this piece to fit this piece. I am smooshing this piece into this piece, this bigger piece into this smaller piece. That's why I have it in my centers. That's why I flipped everything inside out, so that I can then put this side down on the sewing machine and put my stitches here and gather all of this neckline into this piece. Hope that made sense. Yes, okay. I will catch up with the chat in just a moment. Let me pin this, because one thing at a time and then it'll get done. Okay, put this right at center. Gotta smoosh it and smoosh it. This is feeling slightly off. Let me finish pinning this and see if it is, because it's better to figure it out if it's off the pinning stage than the sewing stage. Is it even? Doesn't feel very even. I'm slightly off, and I see right where I knew it didn't feel right. There we go. Okay. I have learned that it's better to stop, take a look at what you're doing, than to push full force forward, because experience. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Dan Does Junk says, I can't recall a movie that I've seen that really scared me, even as a kid. Lucky. Oh, the movies scare me. No. But The Labyrinth was one of those ones as a kid where it did freak me out. I was like, ooh. Um, Ianwa says, to be fair, I was a puppeteer when I was younger, so watching anything Hanson was awesome. Right? Hanson is amazing. And I have the pleasure that I've gotten to be a professional puppeteer more than 3 times now. A couple times. Like, more than twice for sure. Maybe 4 or 5. Because there's Bubblegum that I got to do them with Smosh, and then there was the puppets from whatever the name of that music video was. Werewolf, Sugar and Spice. Yeah, that one. I made those puppets. Oh my gosh! And for the black and white puppets. I actually think I have those ones. Hold on, I can share these with you. Let me grab them. Be nice to her. I just pulled her out of a box. Anyways, that was a puppet I made for Kimbra and Jacob Collier music video. And I was given a picture and was like, we need a puppet to be her but not look like her, and also it needs to fit in all of this crazy theme. Anyways, it turned out amazing. Absolutely love those stupid puppets, and I have like a whole bunch of them. Fun problems, right? Fun problems. Show and tell. LOL. Yeah. Okay, one more pin. I am so distracted, but fun problems. You know, I've never actually sat through the movie The Neverending Story. I know the movie. I've seen a whole bunch of bits and pieces of it lots of times, but I've never actually sat through and finished watching The Neverending Story. Okay, neckline is all pinned. This doesn't feel as flat as I really want it. Am I even? Let me double check. Yeah, I'm even. This side feels right, this side doesn't. I am going to pin it until both sides feel right. So I'm just going to take those pins that I just took, take them out. This is starting to feel much more even. Okay. They are great movies, worth the watch. Honestly, I think the last time I tried to watch The Never Ending Story, I was babysitting, and the kid just wasn't interested in watching it, so I don't think I got to watch it. And I haven't tried since, but that was like, I'm not going to say how long ago because then that'll date me, but still. More than this many's. Okay. My favorite Muppet movie is actually the Treasure Island one because it's the sea and the ship. Oh yeah, that one is good. My favorite Christmas Carol is the Muppet Christmas Carol. Yes. But I don't know what my favorite Muppet movie is. Okay. I have my ties. I have this all nicely pinned. I think it's time to start sewing. Okay. I'm going to increase my stitch length because, oh wait, I have to pick my right stitch that I want to use. I am going to use I'm trying to decide. You know what? I'm going to go with number 7. Because it's one of those mock serger stitches, and I think it'll look really neat. All right. Let's do this. If anything, you can rip it out and do it again. Again, we're at the sewing machine, so we are not pulling at all. We want everything to just stretch together. We're trying to get everything kind of, we're working with the stretch, not against the stretch. Look at all these lovely pins that I'm just yanking out all at once. Double check that it's actually sewing, because you know how many times I've accidentally unthreaded my sewing machine while I'm getting going, and I think that I sewed, and then I have to repin all my gathers because, just kidding, there's no thread in the machine. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm through the gathers on one side of the hood and going around the rest of the neck, but I'm trying to get the neckline hole is slightly bigger than my turtleneck, and I'm letting the feed dogs gather it into my top fabric for me. So I am just gently letting it happen, and I'm not stretching it, and I'm really trying to avoid having a full-on tuck or a bump, because I don't have to. Let me focus on what I'm doing. Shh. Almost done. I see a little bit. If you end up with a slight tuck in there, there is a way to just kind of smoosh it out. And hopefully I don't have to show you that, but if I do, it'll be a learning experience. It's not the end of the world. Oh, there's one little tuck. So I will show you guys the little how to get rid of those. Okay. I might have to get rid of a couple of them. We'll see. All right, now I'm back into the gathers again, and let me take a big step. There we go. Look at them. I have so many pins. Let me get a bunch of these out all at once. Let's see if I did this right. Learning time. All right. Push this slightly out of the way. Snippers. Cut my threads. All right, now I go through and I mark my problem areas with the pin, and then I go through and adjust those, each one of them. But let me put this right side out and double check that I have everything right first. Back neckline. Let's see. Camera, iPhone. Here's the back neckline. It is gathered into here. We have these ties, so we can just easily tie it and tuck it in the back and not think twice about it until I can add hooks and eyes right here. And it is split open wide enough that we can get it over our head. Now, there's no top stitching on hers, so I don't want to add top stitching. I do need to fix this little spot right here, so I'm going to rip this little section out and kind of smoosh it back into place. Because, oops. I'm just over here looking at what I'm doing, not like looking what I'm doing. Okay, let me pin this. Takes 2 seconds. I will. It's right here to right here. Okay, so the best way to kind of fix, like if you missed any of the layers in the seam, you mark kind of where it's missing, a little bit over, and then you just rip out the stitching between there. You re-smoosh the layers together and then start where it's working and then go in a straight line. I'm going to just fix all my little problem areas and then stitch around at my problem areas. But hold on. White on white on white. It's brown. This is why good light is important. Okay, now I'm going to smoosh the layers that we're missing into that space. Here, that to there. I see. So the area that I'm kind of having a little bit of an issue with is where it went from no gathers to gathers, and the stitches got really tight right at that spot, and it kicked a couple of the gathers out, and so now I'm just peeling. There we go. Okay, that's so this is the little right here little section that just needs to be gathered in nice and neat. There we go. Now it's lined back up. All the edges are lined up, and pin to hold it. And let me fix that little section. Sorry about bumping the microphone, but I'm just lining up my first stitch into my last stitch that was on here. And there we go. Much better. Okay. Okay, and on the front, there's a couple little tuck spots that, do I have my iron? No. I didn't think I really needed my iron today, and now I'm regretting my life choices up until this point. Oh well. Because you can totally... I have a little bit of tucking going on, and you can usually press these out. But I'm going to need a close-up cam, and that one doesn't focus to get close. So what I'm doing is right where there's a little bit of a tuck on my fabric, because remember I was really just trying to smoosh everything in together and not pull it apart so it doesn't stretch out, so that I have a tight neckline and not a stretched out wonky neckline. And I have a couple little places where there's a little bit of a tuck. If I just snip that stitch where there was a tuck, I smooth it out, and then it's all better. And then I can just go in with another quick stitch, and then those tucks will be gone, because it's just ever so slightly smooshed over. And it's okay to do them each individually. All right. So I picked out the little spot that was all bumped up. I'm laying it flat right past the stitch line. And I'm going to start a little bit before and a little bit after my stitch. And then don't worry, I'm only live. That's the first time that's happened. Oh well. Okay, where was I? I picked out a little bit of a stitch. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So now that little tuck that I had, tis now gone. Phew. Okay. So let me take these out. Well, good thing they left a message. Now all we have to do is the sleeve length. I have to trim down the length of the sleeve because it is way too long. Let me get this out of the way. You know what? I'm not going to worry about finishing my sleeve length after I've sewn the underarm seam. Make sure I'm still inside out, right sides together. I know that by the neckline. And now we got to sew the underarm seam. If you're limited on how many pins you have, because I find that happens, like where I have tons of pins and then all of a sudden I have no pins, if I pin where I start and where I end and any important midpoints, you can kind of just, those are the bare minimum pins you really need, because everything, if it's cut out right, they tend to want to line up and go where they belong together. So this will take, because if you start at one end and work your way all the way down, you might not be even at the end, but if you work towards the middle, everything should line up. Okay. Okay. Sorry, just getting back on track with the chat. Well, thank you, DJ Sumpy, for joining us. I probably will be ending the stream after I get these underarm seams done. But after these underarm seams are done, the hardest part is done. So let me just do that, and then it'll be done. And we don't have to talk about it anymore. Okay. I still have a pin for where the slit goes, so yay! Way to forethink. So all I have to do is pin to where my slit is, and then that's just a finished edge. So for this one, instead of doing a mock serger stitch like I did around the neckline, I am just going to do a stretch stitch, and I will just press the seam open and flat. And that is how I'm going to finish it, because if you look up her sleeve in one of the reference images that I was looking at, it has the seams pressed open and flat. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. Pin this side. These sleeves are going to be way too long, but I'm going to fold them up, and I don't know how much I'm going to do that yet. But it's a straight line and it's easy to shorten. Okay. And I have my slits marked on both sides. Yay! Look at me, past me looking out for future me. Okay. Okay. Good question. I missed this question. DJ Stumpy was asking, okay, on subject, a little here, and this will show how much of a newbie to sewing I am. Is there a wrong side and a right side to all fabric? That is a very good question. And no, there is not a right side and a wrong side to all fabrics. But you have to be really careful, because fabrics can be exactly the same on their right sides and their wrong sides, but not every fabric. Most fabrics are not. This fabric that I'm working with here looks the same both on the right side and the wrong side, but it's not the same on the right side and the wrong side, and it's ever so slightly different. And you really can't tell, but when you look at them close up, you can tell, but you kind of have to know what you're looking at to tell, so it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, I couldn't just leave it, like, especially with wedding dresses we made out of this fabric, so it made a difference. But I had talked about it earlier in the stream, but the way you find out which is the right side and the wrong side on a jersey knit, because they may, like this one looks exactly the same on right and on both sides, is, let me grab a piece of scrap fabric. When you pull it, it's going to curl. And when it curls, it's going to curl to the right side of the fabric every time. I lied. It's going to curl to the back side of the fabric every time. Anyways, I know this one's the right side because it has the long knit stitches on the front and quote unquote the purl stitches on the back, so it's more bumpy on the back. But you can tell it's always going to curl the same direction. So as long as you keep your fabric curling in the same direction, you as a designer get to decide what the quote unquote right side or wrong side of any fabric is. But you have to make sure that once you decide that, you keep it consistent, unless your design calls for differences. You decide what your right side is, and then that is the right side throughout the entire garment. But not every fabric has a right and a wrong side, but a lot of fabrics do, and you can't always tell the difference between the right and wrong side until they're sewn together. But very good question. So what is the difference? Can you show? This fabric I can't show because it is bright white and too dang tiny, but it has the rows of the stitches going up and down. That's how you know you're on grain. And if you see the rows of the stitching, you know that's the right side. And if on the back you see all the loops, which are the purl stitches, which are the bumpy side, so that is the back of the fabric. Some fabrics are ribbed, so they're the same on both sides, but like I said, if you don't know, pull the fabric and it's going to curl to one side, and then just decide which side's your right side and what's your wrong side, and just keep it consistent. So hope that helps. And sometimes it's just purely color, and then if it has a nap, that can change color with velvets and such. So there's a lot of contributing factors. Look it, I'm ready to sew. Okay, turn this on. 39, which is my stretch stitch. And start at the top of the sleeve. And we will go all the way down. So while I'm sewing, I'm really trying not to push or to pull my fabric, especially since this is a stretch stitch, so it's going back and forth every time it stitches. I just have to guide it and let it do its thing. And don't stretch out the bend. Yanalith, behind the scenes fashion. I bought some dark micro fleece, and it's easier to tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side. If it's a micro fleece, is there also a nap to it? So is there an up and is there a down? Is my question. Sometimes micro fleece is the best fabric ever to work with, and sometimes it's the most pain in the butt. I think when it's the most pain in the butt is when I was using a vintage sewing machine. For some reason, vintage sewing machines have a hard time with modern fabrics, and my micro fleece is one of those ones that it really struggles with. But having the right needle, and this machine, I really like this machine. It can handle any other thing I throw at it. I really like working with micro fleece. side under the arm. And then I might have something to try on. Wonder, because sewing wedding dresses, you have some long seams and a lot of sewing that happens. I wonder how many miles is a dress, like if I'm sitting here driving in a truck, however long it takes me to get around a dress. It's probably not even a mile, but adding all the trim, it might end up being, especially on full circle skirts. Do not stretch the fabric to be straight in your sewing machine. Guide it around the curve. It'll turn out better if you do. Okay, let's see. Monolith is asking a very good question. What kind of fabric am I using? I am using 100% organic cotton jersey knit. It is leftover lining fabric from wedding dresses that I've made. This bolt had a defect in it, so it is free game. So anyways, her dress looked like it was a silk gosh darn it, my brain is farting. Not a gabardine. Anyways, her fabric was definitely a woven, but it behaves like a knit. And so a lot of people have used jersey knits to make her dress. And since I had it, it looked right and it was the right weight. We went with that. Honestly, after this dress is done, it might be really fun to make this out of the silk fabric, other than it sounds expensive. But if I have my measurements right, I won't waste my fabric. Almost there. Down to the end. Yanolith, because moisture wicking is important. Honestly, this fabric's freaking comfortable. It makes the most comfortable wedding dresses, and it breathes. It's like walking around in a giant t-shirt, so I am totally pro using jersey, cotton stretch jersey knit. I think there's some, is it 100% cotton or is there some spandex in it? I'm not 100% sure. I can double check, but it's going to be like wearing a giant comfortable t-shirt, so that's the plan. Let me double check that there's no pins left in this thing. Thought I felt one. Put the sewing machine down. Let's see. Turn this thing inside out. Yep, it would go this way. And then, oh, I have a belt was wondering if I had a belt to practice with because I have to make the belt next week. Hair is too big. Sleeves 100% are way too long, but the plan is to hand stitch them like this so we don't have a visible seam. But I want to be careful because I don't want it to be too thick here that you see it. But okay. I know it's not the right belt, but for trying on sake. Ralph Mork says it's about to hit 1:30 a.m. over here. Need to go find my bed. Bye, Felicia. Well, bye, Ralph. Thank you very much for joining us on this live stream. I'm just about finished. I want to just throw my hair up, double check that this neckline would work. If cinnamon bun. Wait. Tie a knot. And cinnamon bun. Oh, nice. The video is about 80% done editing. That's a lot better than not edited. So that's awesome. Ralph Mork helped us with some metal pieces for the proton pack that Odin and I are working on the Odin Makes live stream. Anyways, oh, this side fell out. Let's do this over again. Anyways, this Princess Leia hair will work. This dress has the goddess. Let's see. Honestly, I feel like this could work. Got the neck. Let's see the hood. That's why I wanted to do the cinnamon buttons to see if it worked with the hood. But I'll put this all together nicely. You know, these things are not easy to do. Not full-on cinnamon buns, but it's not nothing. Okay. Princess Vespa right here. Again, have to shorten the sleeves. I'm going to fold it under. Back. Oops. Pass the back. I need to tie my hair up in a braid. I do. I need to actually like style it. I could do that now, but I now have a place to go to, which will be fun. Fun problems. So next week we're going to be doing the belt, and I will be hemming this on the arms. I'll mark them and hem them, and I will hem the bottom because it is, you guys can't see it, but it's ever slightly too long for me, and I have to finish the edges. So fun problems. Next week we'll hem it, and I will get the belt started. So see you guys next Tuesday, probably around the same time-ish. I'll let you know if it changes. Thank you, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.